I clothe myself in thoughts of compassion. Self-compassion, compassion for the world, compassion for the fear. There is really a lot of fear. I think that's why people are so anxious and agitated and short of patience. And yet my message today, beloveds, is how to bloom in life regardless of the circumstances. I'm in love with all things floral. I've become like a fanatic. I think I want every floral dress in existence, but it won't fit into my closet, so I have to be satisfied with what I have. But as I've been looking at the wondrous beauty of springtime and all that is blossoming and growing, its newness. There's a tree, I remember a few years ago, I had a client who told me that I had too much time on my hands because I told her that I looked up how many leaves the average little small oak tree has. And it's about 500,000. So what? 500,000 trees, leaves, pardon me, and a large oak tree, like something substantial, can have over 2 to 3 million up to 10 million leaves. So as we are looking upon all of this new growth, blossoming and blooming, how can we say that we do not live in an abundant and beautiful universe? So we know just by looking at existence, just exploding with new life in the Northern Hemisphere, that there is a universal broadcast of beauty, of peace. The flowers and the trees and the grasses growing are peaceful. They are beautiful. That there is a universal principle of new life, of new beginnings, no matter what the winter of life may have brought forth. There is always a new birth awaiting us. And a new thought, that's what the energetic, spiritual vibration of this teaching is that at any moment we can bloom. So here are some scriptural foundations. I love going across religious traditions. Consider the lilies of the field, how they grow. They neither toil nor spin. Yet I tell you, even Solomon in all his glory was not arrayed like one of these. That was Matthew 6, verse 28 and 29. From Jeremiah, we hear, this is a beautiful passage. But blessed is the one who trusts in the Lord, whose confidence is in spirit. They will be like a planted tree by the water that sends out its roots into the stream. It does not fear when heat comes. Its leaves are always green. It has no worries in a year of drought and never fails to bear fruit. So do you want to be like the tree that is eternally in bloom, with its roots in the stream, not afraid of when the heat comes? Its leaves are always green, so it does not worry about seasons of drought, and it always brings forth truth and fruit. This passage reminds us that when we anchor our lives in the infinite, we bloom, not because of favorable conditions, but because we are connected to an unfailing source. We have the choice to bloom regardless of circumstances by choosing our thinking, choosing our intentions. Thinking can be very unconscious. Our thinking, apparently we can think up to 80,000 thoughts a day. Women speak about 25,000. Men speak about 15. So we are talking and thinking hundreds of thousands of thoughts. I don't think we can say, oh, I can have control over this mechanism. It's a universal mystery why we are the thinkers. And yet, I think that we can set intentions. When I was diagnosed, I set the intention to see what I was going through affirmatively, even though it scared me. It almost scared me to death. I could have just died by the fear, but that was momentary by infinite's grace. We must set intentions with our lives, for our lives daily. I'm waking up. This is the greatest day and the happiest day I will ever have. This is the best day of my life. This is the best year of my life. That is an intention. When I was sick during the beginning of the diagnosis, I had a very just sad day where I was sick on the couch and I felt alone and why is this happening to me? And I stood up and I said, God is with me. I'm never alone. I set an intention. I believe that that intention, that conscious, very powerfully set intention, created the experience that I had throughout my adventure. Set intentions. No matter what my bank account looks like, I am prosperous. Money comes to me from all directions. Life is easeful. I have an easy life, no matter what they're saying about the economy. If you're feeling lonely, oh, I don't have friends, or I used to have friends, I have friends all over the world. And you will find that the stranger will behave like a best friend. Set your intentions, beloveds, and be like this tree that is anchored by the stream that is forever in bloom. In Hinduism, perform your tasks and your duties because action is indeed better than inaction. In Buddhism, we hear, just as the lotus arises from the muddy water, one can rise above defilement and bloom in wisdom. The Kabbalah reminds us, the righteous shall flourish like the palm tree. They shall grow like the cedar in Lebanon. In Islam, it says, indeed, with hardship comes ease. When you are anchored in God, even if you're going through hardship, it will be easeful. The Tao reminds us, nature does not hurry, yet everything is accomplished. When you feel that you are in a spirit of urgency, I just feel that right now on the planet, there's this urgency. Oh God, I can't even let you go by because then I have to just basically be on you as we're driving down the street because we all have some place to go right now. We need to not. Let's abide in a spirit of easefulness. You know you can stop time. I've begun experimenting with these things. So I have begun affirming that time slows down and I get there on time, easily and effortlessly. And time slows down. And even though I was running late, I get a parking spot, I get there on time. So you just say, I don't abide in time. I'm an ageless, timeless being. Time doesn't exist, and I arrive to my destination peacefully. You can also throw a cloak of protection and invisibility upon you, your children, your loved ones. If you're ever in a crowd, if things get hectic, if you want to leave a place, you can just say, I'm invisible. Please throw the cloak of invisibility upon me, Infinite One, and you'll leave and people won't even know that you left. We are powerful spiritual beings. We can declare and know whose and who we are. So what would Jesus, the master teacher, the great way shower, I like to call Jesus my guru, the greatest guru, what would he say? The kingdom of God is within you. Don't be disheartened by appearances. The bloom of your spirit is not dependent on worldly conditions, but on your union with divine life. I will repeat that one. The bloom of your spirit is not dependent on worldly conditions, but on your union with divine life. So stand rooted in faith, for the same power that raised me up is at work in you now. There is always new life coming forth. coming forth. I'd like to suggest an interview. I watched it yesterday. Oprah Winfrey on her YouTube channel interviewed a Dr. Bruce, I forget his last name now, a scientist, MD, PhD. I think he's professor emeritus at the San Diego University. Anyway, he's written a book called After, on near-death experiences. And the interview is incredible because it's Oprah Winfrey, so people are interviewed who had near-death experiences. So you get to hear these experiences. And he talks about all of the universal qualities and similarities to these NDEs. So I remember their NDEs where people go to the other side and they actually get a job. They get to a hospital and spiritual beings are like, you're going to help us heal these patients. And these are people who died instantly or went through trauma. And the person, so there is life everlasting. This is a purpose-filled universe and you have a purpose. There is a purpose unto every season, every moment. Align with your purpose. That bloom is forever. That bloom is forever. So the spiritual meaning of blooming. To bloom spiritually means to let the God seed within us fully express. Blooming is not just an outer manifestation. It is a soul deep unfolding of divine qualities. Love, wisdom, power, abundance, and joy. Spring reminds us that life renews itself endlessly. Life, God, mind, the I Am presence, infinite intelligence, Mother, Father, Creator, and we, made in its image and likeness, can be renewed endlessly. Life renews itself endlessly. So no matter the harshness of winter, and winter is not just a season, a physical season. It can be a state of consciousness. It can be a season of our lives. So no matter the harshness of winter, whether it's grief, illness, financial hardship, or uncertainty, or discord in our relationships, there is always a resurrection season, a return to life's fullness. In me there is fullness of joy. That's a scripture in the Bible. In me there is fullness of life. There is fullness of joy, but it is a frequency. It is a broadcast, and we must choose it, and we must align. There's no must. We don't have to, but I'm choosing to align and listen to that broadcast. Jeremiah's words teach us that true blooming is sustained by our inner roots. True blooming is sustained by our inner roots. The tree that stands firm, the tree of life that stands firm in the drought and continues to bear fruit, is the image of the soul anchored in God consciousness. Standing firm regardless of the drought season, we can bear fruit. My beloveds, this is the worst thing that could have happened to me, and yet I have received unlimited blessings. I feel like the richest woman on the planet. I feel like I'm richer than Oprah and every other there are two black billionaires, female billionaires, Oprah and some woman in Ghana. I feel richer than both of them through this experience of dissolution. I'm blooming, I'm re-blooming into God. So what are the life applications? Because I love life applications. 1, Bloom where you were planted. Affirm right where I am, the fullness of God is. Sometimes we think if I move to that other place, if I get that other partner, if I change this job, and it doesn't mean you don't have a preference and that you cannot change. We think I'm going to bloom over there. Bloom where you are in consciousness first. Right where I am, the fullness of God is your current life. No matter how challenging, is the perfect soil for growth. Wherever you find yourself is the perfect soil for growth. Jeremiah reminds us we are like trees planted by the stream, where leaves stay green in drought. When we root deeply in spirit, we will flourish no matter the weather. Our blooming is not dependent on the weather. Let's say it together. My blooming is not dependent on the weather. I bloom in all circumstances. I bloom in all circumstances. My blooming is not dependent on the weather. My blooming is not dependent on the weather. Amen. So we're like trees planted by the stream that stay green no matter what the drought. So identify the challenges you're facing right now. We don't deny. But ask, what divine quality is life inviting me to cultivate? Is it patience? Is it forgiveness? Is it courage? Is it strength? Is it faith? Is it kindness? Is it compassion? Self-compassion. Your bloom, number two, your bloom is inevitable. You're a child of God. You're going to bloom anyway. You've bought into the illusion. You think that blooming only happens in the spring and that you're too old and it's been too much time. But you can bloom. Your blooming is inevitable, beloveds. Every seed has a blueprint of bloom encoded within it. Likewise, your soul contains the full pattern of your highest self-expression. Ernest Holmes from the Science of Mind teaches there is a power for good in the universe greater than you are, and you can use it. You can use this power. You can align with this power. You are wired to flourish. So let go of weather watching. It's a good day, it's a bad day, it's a bad season of my life, it's a good season of my life. Don't wait for conditions to be perfect. Take one step towards your dream or healing today. We don't weather watch. It doesn't matter if it's cloudy, it's stormy, it's cold, it's hot, it's dry, there's a drought, there's no water. We're going to bloom because our bloom is inevitable. So co-create your spring. You are not just merely a passive seed. You are a conscious gardener. Through affirmative prayer, meditation, forgiveness work, and visioning, you tend the soul of your mind and heart. Spring consciousness is a daily choice. Let's say, spring consciousness is a daily choice. I'm choosing spring consciousness.
I'm choosing spring consciousness.
I'm choosing spring consciousness.
I'm choosing spring consciousness.
I'm blooming no matter what.
I'm blooming no matter what.
That's right. So begin your day with a sacred intention. Know that today I water my consciousness with love, with prayer, with gratitude, with faith. Water your consciousness. Don't be stingy. Don't let yourself crack and die. And you've planted the seed, you're blooming, but you're not watering the dream. You're not watering your awakening through your spiritual practices. So mindfulness and meditation tips. Take 5 minutes each day, especially right now, beloveds. We're so blessed. To observe a flower, a tree, or blade of grass. Whisper, this is spirit expressing beauty effortlessly. So too do I bloom. Take a moment. Truly look with the spiritual eyes at what you're seeing around you. Abundance and endless beauty. You are a beautiful creation of the Most High. It doesn't matter how weary you are. Look at the newness. This is reflecting no matter what has happened in your life. You are born anew each day, each moment, if you choose. So too do I bloom. Little blade over there, this little flower that's flying in the wind. You know what I love? Windy days when the flowers are like this. And they don't bend or break. They're little, they're little, I'm saying stems or don't break. They're little blooms. They don't fall over. They're sturdy. They look so fragile, and yet they're so sturdy. That is us. So the affirmation for mindfulness, I am fully present to the miraculous life blooming in and around me. Let's be present to the miraculous all around us. So blooming regardless of circumstances. This is the most important principle to know. This is the metaphor of spring. Spring is nature's way of teaching us renewal, hope, and resurrection, even when winter seems endless. I've been in a winter, my beloved. We can't call this like the most thriving thing that could happen. I've been in a winter, but even when winter seems endless, life cannot be stopped. The unstoppable nature of infinite life, of blooms, of renewal, of resurrection, of ascension. This is the reality. So winter symbolizes dormancy, reflection, or trial. It can be a period of warmth and reflection. Spring is awakening, blossoming, renewal, and hope. Summer is fruition and abundance, and autumn is the harvest and letting go. By aligning with spring consciousness, we live in perpetual renewal, no matter what season we're facing. So let's say together, I align with spring consciousness.
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 I am born anew today.
I am born anew today.
Let's breathe that in. Let's bow our heads to our hearts and place our hands on our hearts. If you would like, I will say the closing affirmative prayer. Beloved presence, we give thanks for the eternal spring blooming within us. Like trees planted by your living waters, we are nourished from the deep wells of divine power. Even in life's heat and drought, we stay green, vibrant, and fruitful. We are rooted in you, and we bloom gloriously, regardless of outer conditions. Thank you, Infinite Spirit, for your life blooming through us now. And so, so no matter the season of your life, and no matter what season you appear to be, spring's season is always spring. Trust your roots, trust God, trust your source, and watch yourself bloom anew.